Hey there, Nomads of Lore. I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Sean.
And together we are Mead and Mischief, your home away from no home. And today, it's so good to be.
A show.
Yeah, it's so good to be back with you guys. First of all, get that out of the way. We've missed you.
Hello there.
Been busy doing lots of things, kind of taking a break, resetting. That kind of stuff. Probably won't be doing videos quite as much, but we'll see. Who knows? Who knows what comes of it? But anyway, we were, kind of not pulled into, but decided that we were going to watch this dang show everybody's talking about, and that.
Well, we'd been thinking about coming back and starting doing some videos, and he had the bright idea of, hey,
let's stay up.
We've talked about this before. We should we should watch this thing and stay up till all hours of the night and make a video about it. And so we're gonna do that.
Yeah. So it's a little after midnight our time, which is no big deal, but we're excited.
We're getting old. And all these things.
It's late. It's good.
It's okay.
So this video is going to be a little bit of a rant. We are talking about the Lord of the Rings.
The Rings of Power.
The Rings of Power.
The Rings.
And we're going to talk about how great it is.
So if we've watched a little bit, we've talked and we've watched. We've talked a little bit about Lord of the Rings in the past. We've done various videos. You can check back in the archive to maybe we can link in the iCard the Lord of the Rings playlist. And I can't remember if we'd made a Rings of Power playlist. We've only done a couple of videos on it. But if you've watched any of our other stuff before, we try to stay positive and we try to talk about stuff we like. And in the past at least, and we plan to still do that at least more or less. But we want to continue to increase our authenticity, and if we have had some, I don't know about high hopes, but we've had some hopefulness about this show. And I think there could be some stuff that redeems it.
Nope.
But we were fairly hopeful. I even put out a video, talking about Warrior Galadriel, how that might not be a bad thing, and once we kind of get into some of these first couple of episodes, I can talk about how they could have made it work, sort of, and whatever, and how they could have done it in a way that I would have been fine with. But honestly, they really screwed the pooch.
What did he say?
A lot of stuff. We're not going to tell you what to think, and we're not gatekeeping Tolkien or anything else. Mm. You get to like what you like. So, but it's like, I think if I wasn't aware of Tolkien, I know I would have enjoyed it more than what I did. I mean, big budget YA-ish show. I mean. So I'll give it that. So if you like it, it doesn't mean you're lowbrow or you're incompetent or any. I mean, it's totally fine. It really, and I can even see liking some things about it. We should start with a concrete positive. Was there anything you did like in the first two episodes?
Nori, the character Nori. And the whole, not necessarily the story surrounding her. I just kind of liked her scenes and the giant and that kind of thing.
She was adorbs.
Yeah, she was cute and fun, and it was like, it kind of felt like the start of a new character that I could see liking that's going on in adventure. Yeah.
She was a good representative Hobbit, Harfoot.
Yes. Hobbit, Harfoot.
What did you think about the portrayal of the Harfoots as a kind of precursor to hobbits, but I mean nomadic tribe and whatever, like especially their, I mean, I think the nomadic tribe, I mean, I think that's as authentic as you can be to something that there's like a line and a half written about. As far as the nomadic, what did you think about the visual style? Because they really leaned into kind of a different sort of visual style than
the Hobbits.
More modern Hobbits.
Yeah. It was okay. So they were incredibly dirty people, I felt.
Yes, they were.
And
I don't know that I love that, honestly.
Almost thought it was over the top as far as that is concerned. And I probably made
just because you're nomadic doesn't mean you need to be covered in mud the whole time.
That's right. Nomads of lore, do y'all get covered in mud at night? So I probably made a really big mistake in kind of like preemptively as I started to watch it. I was like, I know this is going to be generic fantasy. I just knew it in my heart of hearts. And so I started with that mindset. And then I was like, okay, well, since it's going to be generic fantasy, I'm going to compare it to the only generic fantasy that I've kind of liked in the near recent whatever that we've talked about, which is Wheel of Time.
Well, I would call that much less generic.
It is a lot less generic fantasy, but it has some of those elements in it. There are some elements where it, goes off the rails from the books, and there's a lot of generic stuff. Anyway,
well, it's hard to not compare the two. Is coming out more recently. I think that's.
And so when it got to the Harfoots, I could not help but think of the Way of the Leaf people, and
the Tinkers.
Yeah, the Tinkers, and it just I think they were just a little too dirty for my taste. It was like everything was dirty about them, and I kept going back to the Hobbits and thinking they didn't even portray them as super dirty. I mean, they had big hairy feet.
Yeah,
I guess, but
I think the culture has shifted significantly.
I understand that,
but still, I agree with that.
Anyway, so I didn't not like them, and like I said, Nori was my favorite character, favorite part of the whole show. So it didn't bother me that much. Yeah. What about you? What did you think about him?
It took me a minute to get used to the idea. The more I thought about I agree with the grunginess look. I mean, that seems a little silly at best. But the more if that would have been the only thing to wrap my brain around was some interesting, weirdly haired Harfoot precursor to Hobbit
leaves
people
everywhere.
That are, like if they were fine. That's kind of a little bit of a whatever. Like that's like I say. I mean they were fine. Nori was a very likable character. I did enjoy her character and all of those things. The giant, I don't know how I feel about that. The giant, so
he was intense.
So who is assuming we could keep talking about this show, or we can at least have this up immortalized. Who do you think the what are they billing him as? The stranger, I think is how they're billing.
Who is he?
Yeah, who is he?
I have no idea.
I have no idea.
Who do you think he is?
So, I mean, I think it's almost. I read a little bit in an article. I was kind of skimming articles a little bit as I was articles and things, kind of placing things that went off the rails in so many places. I was double checking doing some sanity checking. Did so and so know? So, whatever else. Did a little bit of that while I was watching. But anyway. I came across an article of the actor Daniel Wayman, who played it. He interviewed with somebody. I don't even remember who wrote the article, but he's kind of opened up. Not really, but he's a very important character, and it was the guttural whatever.
What did he say?
I'm totally misquoting whatever he said, but basically he was trying to portray the character and actions and whatever, and I couldn't help but my thought was they shouldn't show up till the third age, so it's misplaced. But my initial thought was, well, maybe this is supposed to be Saruman. Saruman was originally sent to stop Sauron, and so maybe it's Saruman. I don't think that's who it is. The more we got into it, the more we saw of him. I really think it's probably a young Gandalf, which is a stupid statement in and of itself, but for the sake of statement. And the one moment that made me really think that was the little firefly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's so reminiscent of
him talking to the
butterfly or moth or whatever it is. I think that's which. And if that's who it is, that really makes the whole thing with Nori personally makes me like that much less, because it's like, okay, so you're going to try to, if that's what it is, you're going to try to build that as, okay, that's why Gandalf has this thing about hobbits and whatever, instead
small
of
people.
yeah, exactly. So it's all thanks to Nori that Sauron was, because she befriended him and his confused, and that's if it is Gandalf, why is he confused, and why did he fall down as a meteor, and whatever the heck else is happening with all this garbage and nonsense, if that's what it is. And why is this even, and it's I was telling Jonathan before, I didn't explain all of this, all of these thoughts then, but it's kind of reminds me a little bit of like in Solo, the film, where it's like, oh yeah, now we know why Solo was named Solo, because he's there. It's because he was Solo. Whatever. It's like, okay, this is a stupid justification for why Gandalf cares about hobbits. That has nothing to do, like, that totally misses the point of Gandalf caring about hobbits, like way far beyond misses the point. And it's just like, and even if it was an okay point and kind of fit, which it doesn't, but even if it did, it's kind of like, who the heck cares? Why? I mean, like, that, what does that add to the story? So that if that is what it is, in my opinion, at this point, it's broken 6 ways from Sunday and stupid, which is sad, because I agree with Jonathan that, like, Nori was kind of a shining beacon in the first 2 episodes, and so if it undermines, at least for me anyway, then that's rather disappointing. So who knows?
Maybe
I guess
not.
it could be Sauron. I mean, that's and actually
that would
one other
show.
thing that made me think, okay, maybe it is Saruman, was the whole voice. That's one of kind of Saruman's kind of powers, if you will. Tolkien's magic system is very soft. But Sauron, I keep saying the wrong. No, I'm saying it right now. Sorry, it's late.
Saruman.
Saruman's voice being back, and the whole his voice and the whole bending trees thing. So, and that would be more interesting, in my opinion, if it was Saruman, and kind of see some of his internal corruption and whatever. I think that could be interesting. I just don't really think that's what they're doing, but I would be more down for that. I mean, that would be more. It's still the wrong age and whatever else, but I could live with that.
That would be a lot more interesting
Yeah.
if they took a character that we know is eventually evil, and made him a good guy in this story. It would be interesting, and show the start, his downfall. It would be really interesting. Yeah. So I guess enough of Nori and the giant,
that one shining light.
I guess let's just do elves overall. How did you feel about? Let's start with the elf and human love story. That's a little small part.
Which one? The one that's already happening, or the one that I'm afraid is about to happen?
No, not the one that's about to happen. The one that already happened, that she has a child with, I think.
What?
Did you think that was the elf's child?
I feel like there's no way that's true. I think they were too, like.
He looked a lot like him, but maybe not. Maybe. You're right.
the whatever his name. I didn't write his name down either. It's not Liam, but that's the name that's coming to mind. Something like that.
Yeah.
But whatever the heck his name was, the kid with the demon sword.
Yes.
Yes. No.
How'd you feel about the demon sword?
I don't know what they're doing with this whole sigil thing.
So my immediate thought was like, okay, are we just gonna have anything
red herring,
anything that Sauron is connected to? If someone else touches it, he's able to sense them.
What the heck is this blood trickling into the thing and sword
and creating the sword? That's what it looked like it was doing. It was his blood
stopped
went in there and it
point.
started going out, and then his mom called his name, so it stopped. Which
I don't know. I don't know about that's the. We haven't even talked about Galadriel yet, and that's if you've watched.
I told you this video was going to be all over the place.
I was very hopeful for Galadriel, but not anymore. But where were we? Oh, the love story.
Yes, the love story.
That's I went back and forth about that a little bit. Meh.
Yeah.
her character, Bronwyn, right? Bronwyn,
Yep.
and she's interesting. Like that whole town, this whole southern. I mean, that's kind of a very like. There's almost nothing about that in Tolkien's stuff, so they can kind of do with whatever the heck they want.
Yeah.
And so it was. I think that was fine. I am a little curious where some of that story goes. I don't know whether at this one I don't know. At this one I don't even know what narrative they're really the ultimate narrative of they're trying to. Are they having these really disparate narratives that they're kind of these are vignettes of Middle Earth. Of Arda, which they're not. They didn't throw that in there. They threw a lot of other little Easter eggy things for the hardcore Tolkien fans that probably are going to hate this show. So a lot of them, and so anyway, it was fine, and that's about all I really have to say about it. I don't know. What did you think about it?
Yeah, it was fine. It felt extremely forced. I saw
shoehorned. It would be probably a better.
Yeah. It was just like, okay, why does this have to even be there? I mean, I guess that's the interest of him wanting to linger around, and that's what has him find out. But it just felt like, Anyway, I enjoyed his character. His acting was pretty good for what it was. What little bit that they had.
Assuming he was written as a stoic, sad elf. His acting was great.
Stoic, sad elf. So he was.
If he was supposed to be anything other than that, then it was terrible.
He was not as good as Lan was at being stoic.
So the elves in general. So we kind of followed two groups of elves that briefly met and whatever else. So probably the easier one to talk about would be Elrond and his stuff. So what did you? I answered first last time. So now that you have a drink, what did you think about Elrond and Gil-galad and Celebrimbor? I guess mostly just Elrond.
I mean
really.
the how he was made up, his look was really good. The political side of things seemed to be alongside his character-ish, I guess. But
it was way off of canon on how any of that stuff goes, like from that time frame. But that's if there are so many things in here. I think you said something about it. There are so many things in the show that it's like, okay, if somebody's only watched the films, we're going to kind of twist this in this way
exactly
to make it kind of.
And that's
so
what
it kind of fits
that's what it seemed
like
they
movie
were trying to do.
Aragorn.
Movie
Elrond.
Movie Elrond.
Struggling with names apparently. Even
movie
when I get
Elrond.
them right, I can't
it seemed
get them right.
and that's what I meant when I'm saying it seemed like something alongside his
Hugo Weaving would have done.
Yes,
exactly.
The look and everything. Actually the costumes. I liked a lot of their costumes.
Mm-hmm.
Some of their armor pieces.
Actually.
Some of their leather working. Some of the hammer thing that he picked up at one point was pretty cool. Actually, I guess Elrond didn't pick it up. Celebrimbor did. But some swords and knives and different things. Everything
really
was
nice.
Very spot on for me as far as the look.
I've seen a lot of people whining about some of that, and I don't go along with that really. They're comparing it to the Pete Jackson film and whatever else. You're not really and I know they spent a crap ton of movie on.
Movie?
It's late. Words are failing me.
I feel like you haven't had as much drink as me, but you're acting like you've had more drink than me.
I don't know. I don't really know. Mostly just water, but anyway.
Maybe I'll have some water. Maybe that'll help you.
Maybe it'll help me siphon off some things. I don't know. Who knows? I did go to an adult ballet class today, so maybe I'm just addled or something.
Okay.
But anyway, what was I talking about? Celebrimbor, something, Elrond.
We were talking about the look. You were talking about how
a lot of it. You're not really comparing apples to apples.
Yeah.
Movie is different than TV, and the way the costuming works in a TV that's gonna run for seasons, or at least 8 multiple episodes, is different. And I I would say that there is not as much attention to detail as the Peter Jackson trilogy. I think that's absolutely fair to say. What a Workshop was absolutely groundbreaking on the massive amounts of detail. But I think, in my opinion, and it sounds like Jonathan's too, for a TV show, I think it really worked. I didn't think there was anything that was dumb looking, or other than the grungy, Harfoots. But it didn't look chinchy. It didn't. It really. The costuming.
The scene with the 2 trees. I don't know how accurate that is to the.
It was missing some elements, which was a little sad.
It was gorgeous. They did a really good job on that, I felt. So I felt overall, as far as the look and feel of the elves, I think they hit pretty well.
I agree, actually. Mm-hmm.
What did you feel about the Elven King?
Gil-galad?
Mm-hmm.
I think that was fine. I think Gil-galad was fine. I think his characterization was fine. We didn't see a lot of him there. It's hard to quite, they've screwed up so much of the lore and the known events, which is dumb because you have so much room to play. Why are you going to screw up the things that we do know? It's like, what in the world is wrong with you people? But, and so it's hard to quite place what part of the Second Age, where exactly we quite are as far as timeliney stuff. I think Gil-galad was fine. I think it's late. Y'all are gonna roast me in the comments. What is the Linden? Linden was beautiful. I think it was really, it's hard to not compare to Peter Jackson and Lothlorien, and it's not quite the same. I think it was enough different and had a different enough look, but was still wooded and all of these things. I think it was quite beautiful. So all of that stuff was fine. Elrond and Gil-galad's relationship, I think, was it made sense for at least some point in the timeline. It was, it took some liberties. I don't know that Elrond was necessarily the speech writer, but it makes sense. It fits, at least it fits some later Elrond being Lord Master and whatever else, and a writer in his own right, and stuff, and so it fits that. So connection for audience, which we should be fair there too. I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong within reason of doing things that connect in people's brain to the movies. And I think that's reasonable. I think from a show running standpoint, I think to not do that and to totally make a hardcore Tolkien nerd, it's going to be a adaptation. Disservice. I think is a poor. I think
it's a poor choice. It's not a disservice. It would be a disservice.
It would be awesome.
It would be. Yeah, but it's a poor choice.
It's bad from a business and just like allowing other people to enjoy, no matter
how much we might want it.
Yeah, and whatever else. And also, even if this is a crap. I think adaptation is a poor choice. Even if this is a crappy fan fiction that is being made, it still has the potential to pull more people into diving deeper into Tolkien lore. So I think that's positive. I hated, we're following Elrond, right? So I hated Khazad-dûm, like hardcore. It was awful, except there was for me at least, surprising shining moment.
Okay.
But I will talk about that in a minute. I was telling John that I wish that I had a camera on me when I was sitting watching this, because as Elrond and Celebrimbor were walking or whatever and going to Khazad-dûm, I was thinking in my head, and I think I even said out loud to nobody, okay, this is going to be awesome. I've been frustrated with different things and whatever. This is going to be really cool. It's going to be epic and awesome and really cool. I've been excited to see Khazad-dûm at the height of its grandeur and whatever. And then we get this weird, awkward door sequence, which I guess is supposed to connect people's mind to
Speak, friend, and enter.
I really thought that's what was about to happen.
I did too.
I thought he was going to go up and yeah, and
friend.
exactly.
Click.
I really thought that was what was about to happen.
I did too.
I was about to facepalm hard.
Yeah.
And I didn't facepalm quite as hard, but then they go into Khazad-dûm, and it's like, okay, there's a pretty weird waterfall with some buckets going up and down.
And some greenery.
And this is not epic Khazad-dûm at the height of its glory. This is not remotely that. This is stupid. And then on top of that, it's like somebody in the producing room or whoever, somebody at Amazon was like, oh yeah, dwarves are funny. We gotta have funny dwarves. We gotta have these really over the top, stupid, acting whatever, cheering on this dumb thing. That whole scene was utter garbage.
The way that they filmed the close-ups, like from right here underneath, while they're like, "Doom!" and it's like, I was just like, what are we watching? Like, it looked like
it really did kind of take you out of it felt like nothing else.
Well, the first time it happened, I was like, wait, what did I just see? Because everything else has been real Peter Jackson-y as far as filming.
Epic and beautiful.
Epic, big, grand scale. And it's like this weird, I don't know. It definitely pulled me out. I did not like it.
It was,
Sam, I am.
Absolutely
did not like
hated that.
green
So the
eggs
one
and
thing
ham.
I did one other thing other than Nori that I actually really enjoyed was Deezo and Durin the Force relationship. It was super cute, super sweet. I thought it was wholesome. Like it was this sweet married couple, whatever, now there was some little bit of, the man is useless sort of, there was that. I hear you. I agree. I'm not saying you. I mean, you can speak your mind on it in a minute, but I actually quite enjoyed that little scene. I thought that was cute and sweet and wholesome and fun, and it was less cartoony than the previous dwarf moments that we'd gotten so far in the show. But I don't know. What did you think about that?
The reason I lowered my head is because I have to agree. I honestly, I went into that scene knowing who this woman was, and actually she was probably one of the only actors that I watched any kind of interviews with.
Right.
Because there was a lot of stuff surrounding her, political and otherwise. Mm-hmm. And so I had a little bit of a tint going into the scene, and I actually enjoyed it, and I was like, what is wrong with me? But it was
really sweet.
It was fine. I didn't really like the man is worthless kind of attitude that is
it kind of
very
worked
prevalent
in that scene. I think it was fitting in that moment. There was another moment that they threw that the man is worthless. Although they balanced it out in some places, but I think they had some nice balance in.
Galadriel had to be saved by a man.
I know I was exactly
so surprised.
It was slightly astonishing.
I was so surprised,
and it was interesting. I'm not real thrilled with the whole Galadriel.
Don't get him started.
Galadriel and Halbrand crap right now. There's so much with Galadriel that I made an entire video saying, you can go back and watch it. Hopefully I've already put the link in the iCard at some point or whatever else. I made a whole video basically saying, I'm going to give it a chance. It could work. It could be okay. It's okay. Like having Galadriel do some warrioring could have been okay. They could have made it work. They could have done okay. They just meshed up so much of her story and her character. It's just like there's so many things, every time, like once I realized how much they were messing it up every time, which I really hate because she seems like a great actress, and I like her. She's like, if this wasn't Lord of the Rings, I would probably really enjoy her as a character. I tend to like that type of character.
I don't know if I would have it. And the reason is because the whole time she's on screen, she looked pissed off. There was
and she was
but
like
maybe 2 scenes that she smiled in. And I was like, you're seeing your friend Elrond, who you haven't seen apparently for a couple hundred years, or I don't know how long. They've been out they seemed like forever, in the wasteland, trying to look for the shadow or whatever. And she comes back, and she's just pissed off. I need to talk to the king so I can get right back out there. And it was just like, chill out. I mean, I understand. It's like, anyway.
Well, they're playing this angle, which is not canon. It's stupid and it's unnecessary because there's so much to Galadriel's character that they could have actually pulled from. And where the heck is Celeborn? Because their relationship could have been super awesome and super interesting. And I actually saw one article, that was titled something like that. Where the heck is Celeborn? And they kind of ended the article with fans shouldn't worry because there's 5 seasons. Bull crap. That is stupid. That she should already be married to the guy, and they should be doing these things as stuff together. I mean, they're not always together. There's some things where they're separate or whatever else. But that could have been a powerful story of the two of them working together. And this whole nonsense with her going on the boat back to the thing. She came to Arda, to Middle Earth, because she wanted to set up her own kingdom. she wanted to, and she didn't want to rule the world, but she wanted a place where she could be in charge and not whatever else. And she wasn't going to go off and go back to thing and then need to be saved by a man. that is, of anybody that would need to be saved by a man. It shouldn't. I appreciated it from the balance standpoint of, we're not just going to make the men in the show totally worthless, right? Yeah. I mean, because there's plenty of moments and things in movie and TVs these days that are just doing that. You're a man, you're completely worthless. I mean, look at Multiverse of Madness. She can kill all the men with just a snap, but she's got to duel out the women for a little while. It's just like, this is just dumb. It's like anyway, I'm gonna
She-Hulk, anyone?
Yeah, I haven't even watched She-Hulk. I don't even know yet.
I only watched the first episode.
They just have messed up, and it's in the front. And again, like I keep saying, more or less, there's so much awesome stuff they could have done and pulled from. They could have even had her fighting battles in the right context. They could have put that there. They could have had her in that, and I would have been okay with that. I've already said so. That's what's frustrating about it, is they didn't have to do this. They didn't have to make her this strong, independent, isolated elf maiden.
That's actually what got to me the most, was isolation. Like, she made everyone around her hate her because of how adamant she was about her mission.
Which is directly I can't quote word for word, but she got along with everybody except maybe Feanor. I'm missing the exact words, but that's essentially a direct quote. She was a well-liked person, and she had no strife with people except Feanor. Yeah, well, speaking of Feanor,
her whole party hated her when they were, they were in the snow elf. Is that what they call it? I mean, the snow abomination. The snow troll. Snow troll.
That was such a weird, like that. I don't know who that other actress was, the other woman there, but she looks so much like Galadriel that I was like, even watching, I was still confused. Like, wait, is this I'm her? Confused who this person is.
I so called it. I was sitting there with Shauna watching it, and I was sitting there and I was like, they're in this weird place, and it's like in the middle of nowhere, and it's freezing, and there's going to be a monster. There's going to be some kind of monster that's going to attack. And what do you know? There's a snow troll.
Troll. And then later we get attacked by a sea monster.
By a worm.
Because there are too many... Yeah, a worm. Because there are too many people on this dadgum boat, and we got to kill some off so that these two can have 4 or 5
extras. Yep. So we can get down to just the man and the woman.
It seems from some of the trailers, it seems like they're going to try to play some stupid romance angle between the two of them, which is even dumber, because Celeborn. She shouldn't be going.
The man's she's got to fall in love with the man. The man's going to die, and then she'll fall in love with Kill.
I guess. It really frustrates me because again, I made a whole video talking about how this could work, and I really try to give people the benefit of that. And there were so many times in these 2 episodes where I was like, okay, I'm really trying to like this. I'm trying to not be pissed off and think, what in the world am I even watching at so many points? And I'm sorry that this is a rant. We've been talking about wanting to be more authentic, and so maybe this is a good way to step out on that. But and we do want to keep a lot of our content positive, but if you're going to trust any review or raise from us, and if we're going to be able to be completely our true selves, that's where it's got to be. And I plan to watch at least another episode, and depending on how this video does, we'll see whether we do videos and whatever else. And there are some places where it could redeem itself.
Yeah.
I'm much less hopeful at this point. They're just messing up some fundamentals of some of these things. And it's and I know for those of you who watched our Wheel of Time, you're probably like, they changed all this stuff in Wheel of Time and y'all loved it and thought it was great and whatever. It's not the same. Wheel of Time is an adaptation, and they adapted the heart of what they were doing. In this, there is so little to go on, and they can't even get right
the few little
things that there are there.
Yeah.
And there's so much potential for awesome stuff that's there. We're gonna totally Galadriel is the one that really, and those of you, you can tell me. I told you so. Oh, you can tell me. It's fine. I'll take it. And
in the comments.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you can make a video response. That doesn't hardly exist on YouTube anymore, but you can. Sure, why not? But Galadriel is right now the thing that is completely and utterly ruining the show for me. They've just messed that part up so badly, and they didn't have to. They could have had Warrior Galad. They could have had their cake and eat it too. But right now, they're throwing that cake in the garbage. The only other thing that I can think of that really got on my nerves was the scene where Galadriel is sitting with her brother, and he says to her, or she asks him, "How do I know which light to follow? Because the light in the sky and the light on the water, looks the same or whatever. How do I know which light to follow?" And then he whispers to her, and of course you don't hear it the first time. And then later on she has flashback and you hear what he says, and it was, sometimes you have to touch the darkness first. And I was just like, is this Tolkien we're watching? Like, this is not the heart of Tolkien. Like, for the elves, who were kind of his, like, ultimate being, well, not his ultimate being, but his higher higher moral being. Firstborn.
Oh, firstborn. Gotcha.
Firstborn of Eru.
Yeah. I don't know. I just was really put off by that line. I'm like, what? Why is her brother telling her that she needs to touch the darkness? Like, and I'm assuming that there's going to be some reference to that later, and maybe
I don't know if I would assume that at this point.
Well, yeah.
I'm not real sure where they're going with a lot of stuff at this point. But
everything has just been, it's been very generic. It's been, I got bored. Like, I started playing on my phone while I was trying to watch this thing so we could, and it just, I didn't do that with Wheel of Time, even though I got annoyed with, there were so many things I got annoyed with Wheel of Time because I just got done reading it, and so, but it's just not good, unfortunately. Sorry. Yeah. And Bezos is going to stop cutting us checks after this one, so, anyway, we hope you guys either liked it better than we did or hated it just as much, one of the two.
Yeah.
Definitely
hope you enjoyed this video.
Yeah. Give us give us the thing you liked the most in the comments and the thing you liked the least in the comments. I want to see some of y'all's. Just so maybe there's something in there that we didn't see.
Yeah,
maybe.
Sure. Yeah,
so
we'd love to.
We're and I'd love to be proved wrong. I'd love to be proved wrong or change my mind.
Yeah,
We've
influenced some of our audience members' minds to like a part better, and I think it could happen in reverse. I think it already has.
Sure.
So we'd love to hear your thoughts for sure.
Thank you guys for joining us along in this
late
whatever
night
this is. Yes,
ramblings.
Yes. Have a good evening.
Bye.
We'll see you later.